Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am concerned, Mr. Kanter, that some of the largest players in the investment industry are colluding and conspiring and using their power together to force environmental, social, and governance policies, also known as ESG, on American businesses and consumers. These institutions do not appear to care about the preferences of Americans. Instead, they want to force their agenda on everyone across this country, even if that agenda keeps Americans from having access to a robust choice of goods and services. Assistant Attorney General Kanter, Supreme Court case law makes clear that social justifications do not make anti-competitive collusion any less unlawful. And that's from Superior Court Trial Lawyers Association, a 1990 case. In other words, a desirable social policy does not excuse a violation of the antitrust laws. Is that correct?
Absolutely, that is correct.
Okay. And the Supreme Court has also made clear the court should reject requests from litigants seeking special exemptions or exclusions from the Sherman Act because of important social objectives. This means that there is no antitrust exemption for good social policy. Is that also correct?
That is also correct, and I commend you on your command of the antitrust precedents.
So regardless of whether the ESG policies are good or bad, if those policies restrain trade and lead to anti-competitive effects, then those policies violate the antitrust laws. Is that also true?
In all instances, we have to follow the facts and the law, and as the Supreme Court has said in other contexts, we don't engage in a balancing of social credits and debits.
The Supreme Court has explained that activity that prevents Americans from making free choices between market alternatives is inherently destructive of competitive conditions and may be condemned. This means that an agreement that reduces consumer choice can violate the Sherman Act. Would you also agree with that?
The Sherman Act and the antitrust laws exist to promote competition and choice, and that is a noble value, and our objective at the Antitrust Division is to make sure that we are enforcing the law to promote those values.
And quality, service, safety, and durability, all of these elements, and not just the immediate price, are considered in the antitrust analysis according to Supreme Court case law, correct?
Correct. I wholeheartedly agree that antitrust is not just about price. It is about quality, it is about innovation, and it is about choice as well, among many other things.
So competition results not just in lower prices, but also in better products. Would you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that.
So even if an ESG policy that companies pursue together doesn't increase prices or decrease output, it still might violate the Sherman Act if it reduces product quality or limits the choices available to American consumers. Is that correct?
As a foundational matter, the antitrust laws are not just about price and output. The antitrust laws are about quality, innovation, and choice, among many other values.
Now, Mr. Kanter, you testified before the Senate when you were being considered for confirmation to your position as the head of the DOJ Antitrust Division, and you took an oath and swore to tell the truth at that time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you took an oath to tell the truth today as well?
Yes.
At that hearing, you testified that, quote, the consumer welfare standard could encompass many factors beyond price, like quality and innovation and consumer choice, end quote. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Okay. You also testified that, quote, if confirmed, your focus would be to work with the Department of Justice to enforce the laws as Congress has written them and to make sure that we're protecting competition and the competitive process, end quote. Do you remember that testimony?
I absolutely do, and I agree with it then, and I agree with it today.
All right. Did you testify truthfully at your confirmation hearing?
I did.
And have you testified truthfully here today?
Yes.
Thank you. With that, I yield back.
Thank you.
Generally yields back. I recognize the